Flory Models daily vlog. Here we are, Wednesday the 15th of July 2015. Apologies yesterday, to be honest, really simple. I know loads of you had a bit of a panic, honestly guys. I forgot I had a doctor's appointment. Yeah, and I'm still living and I intend to live a long time, so everything's fine from that. It's just that it's one of those things. I was reminded around about sort of 3 o'clock we had a doctor's appointment, so I had to scoot off and have that. Few bloods and all the rest of it. So a pint of blood later, I'm all right. Anyway, pushed on massively over the last 2 days, as you can probably tell. First up, the Typhoon, as you can see, is painted and done. To be honest, I am literally just waiting on the decals, which will be in the morning. We can get this thing decaled, sealed, further weathered, and then we can literally put it together. As you can see, it's looking very nice. The hint is in the old black here. I think pretty much everyone's going to know it's going to be 29 Squadron Bird. So I say it's really looking the part, and I have to say some of the little things we did to this one, like the intake, we talk about this in the next part of the video, which is actually up now. I'm not sure you've actually got that bit yet, but if not, it'll be up Monday. But certainly we talk about painting it, rescribing it, doing all the little areas which I thought were going to be real problems. They were, but we fixed them and it came together really, really well. But I did the intake job and that worked beautifully. And then, to be honest, down here at the back, hopefully you can see it in the light, this is actually AK's Metallizer paint. Funnily enough, I didn't mask over it, and then I used the buffer balls for the actual nozzle itself. So we've actually got the two colours down the back there. Is actually dark iron as the black part, and then it's just iron on the actual blades, and then polished the feathers, the actual nozzle movable ones, to make them very shiny. So you've got the different colours we're running back there. I don't think the camera particularly does it justice, but as I look at it here, it's exactly what I'm after. So pretty good with that one. Very, very excited. Can't wait to get it onto its actual base. I've had a bit of a play to get it round there. I've got to drill out the acrylics properly to get them seated in, but generally it seems to be coming. Probably not much work on this one to get this one together, but I do want to play with a little bit of weathering. I want to make it quite subtle. I want to give it presence, if you like. I know it's a showbird, so it's going to be somewhat clean. It's just I want to break a little bit of this barley grey up a little bit more, but generally very, very nice, coming together very, very well. And then this lump, which was today's project and the back end of yesterday, went through, done the underside. Actually, we could probably unmask this. We do a live unmask. As you can probably tell, I have free-handed all the camo on this. I'm a great believer in when you start getting above 1/32, there's no point masking it because it will all be too hard a camo. But generally, if we can get this off. Now, I had a bit of a worry on this one because it seems I'm picking on AK. Hey, it's not life colour anymore, at least they'll be happy. But AK tends to be very hit and miss in their paints. Now, you might remember when we actually did the get this off without it peeling would be absolutely lovely, and it isn't. Absolutely fine. There we go. So that's the underside all done. Now the underside here is AK paints, purely because I'm actually out of XF80 as we speak. So it's a case of like, okay, what are we going to do? Well, we have got their paints, so we're going to give it a whirl. The thing I learned very rapidly was we primed this one, had no problem with it. We haven't pre-shaded it or anything. We just went straight in with it. And the paint took to it beautifully. It loved it, no problem at all. So it was a case of, well, that's great. So we chucked it down, and it went down, and it was absolutely going lovely. And then obviously I had things like the doors, flaps, things like that, which hadn't been primed, and I tried to paint on with them. And then lo and behold, this stuff, absolutely hated it with a vengeance. It didn't matter if I was spraying it neat, thinned, whatever I was doing, it just didn't like it. It is very reminiscent to Mig's stuff. I don't know if you've seen Mig, but he harps on a little bit now about how you have to use his paints a certain way and make them sort of very thin, dusty coats and build them up. This is exactly the same, which leads me to believe I think this is coming out of the same place. But again, it's a bit of a bore. It's fine if it's primed, but if you're doing it onto neat plastic, it's a pain. So it was easier to prime everything and then do it. So put me back a little bit, but I've heard horror stories about using it for the green and the grey on top. So at that point I was like, right, okay, I had enough now. I'm not going to risk it anymore. I'm actually going to flick back. So we went straight back with good old Tamiya. So we went in with XF 8182, which are their colours for the top side here. And then, as I said, don't take too much notice of the pattern. I know it's a bit rough in the middle, but it's going to be covered up with invasion stripes. So I'm using them as a basis because I intend to wear through it slightly to give it a worn, chipped look and all things like that. But generally, no problem with it. Freehand it. Take your time. A couple of little tips I talk about during the video, this one, to give you nice, straight, smooth edges. But also by thinning the paint slightly, you can distress it. So it's deliberately supposed to look mottly and all the rest of it in the paintwork itself, especially the greens, to give it that sort of, you know, further worn down look and everything else. So when we still, you know, come through and start playing with different weathering techniques later on, it will just give us part of it. But generally, as you can see, this is a big old lump and it's really coming together very nicely. Most of this, to be honest, as we all know, this half here won't be on it. The panels on all the sides and the wings and everything, they're not going to be on it either. The front end isn't going to be on it even. So from our point of view, it's just a case of a little bit of painting on the bits which aren't going to be opened up. But as I say, it was quite a nice, you know, exercise to go through, bleaching out the bottom of the panels. We lightened up the paint a bit, just did all the centres, did the same for the top as well on the grey and green, just to break it all up. And it's actually gone really, really well. And to paint that entire thing probably only took, I don't know, not an hour, maybe 45, 50 minutes to paint the entire thing. Went down really, really well. It's just that I am worried about using the AK paints because you hear all the horror stories, but I haven't tried them, but they could be okay. But certainly if you are using them, just make sure you've got a primer down. I just had XF19 everywhere on this and we primed straight down onto it and we had no problems. This guy, if you are wondering, is Guns. Easy way out, Guns Barley Grey, right the way over it, and then we just did a pre-shading job on this one and then lightened off, and then it's Tamiya X1 for the black. And as I say, you didn't have to worry about that one. And I do like using the Tamiya paints because they're just fantastic for freehand work and all the rest of it. No clogging, no spitting, very straightforward. Okay, so you're going to get part 5, I do believe, is going to be on this one, and it talks about rescribing, because I show about rescribing these on the side and then whipping through with obviously pre-shading, and then putting the barley down. I think we get the barley down in that part and all the rest of it. The other big thing is obviously the standalone canopy polishing is now in the tutorial section. It is a standalone. I'm also going to make it free to watch as well, because I think it's just one of those ones that everybody will be into. And they say it was taken from part 4 of this particular build, but I think it'd just be a handy one. So if you are a non-member, pop over to YouTube or on the Flory Model site. It'll be on the Today page and you can watch it as well. But members, it is in the tutorials one and it's under modeling, okay? Because the original one was in there as well. So I've now replaced it. The original one, which is like version 3, amazingly, I've done 3 over the years. This is now version 4 of it, and it shows this one being done, which is quite nice because it's center seam, front and rear canopy, and then we talk about masking it out freehand as well and going through all things like that. So anyway, that one's up now and you can see the other bit. Typhoon, to be honest, I've got loads of editing to do on this one. I've probably got 2 or 3 parts of editing to get on with this one. It's pushing through very nicely on the Hawker Typhoon here. Tomorrow I'm going to get the invasion stripes on it in the morning. I've only got one review up tomorrow, which I'm going to do, which is the Coast Guard H65C Trumpeter one. We've looked at the kit before, so it's not going to be a massively in-depth review, but it will give me another day or half a day on this one to get it the invasion stripes on and everything else like that. So then once that's done, we can seal it down and then we can get in there with the weathering, but then we can rip it apart again, get everything exposed and exactly in, because obviously no doubt we've probably got overspray on a few little bits, but we can touch them up. So there we go, that's about it for today. Say, plenty going on. Sorry about yesterday, I should have popped something up but I forgot, but thank you for everyone who had a bit of a worry, but honestly absolutely fine. And things like that. But as I said, get the invasion stripes on that tomorrow and everything else. And as you can see, it is nice and clear here. For you guys who are on my Facebook, you'll notice I put up a photo earlier and it looked like a bomb had gone off. It's amazing how you can just push everything to one side out of camera view. All right, that's it for today, and I'll catch you all tomorrow.